Zanzi. I'm finally on my way to Miss Universe. I am super excited and oh so grateful for all the love and support. I definitely receive it, I feel it, and I'm taking it with me. Please continue to support me on this journey. I love you all so much.
The South African government has withdrawn its support for the Miss South Africa pageant. This follows the pageant's decision to participate in the Miss Universe pageant despite government's advice not to do so. So the Miss Universe pageant is scheduled to be held in Israel next month. In a statement, the Ministry of Sport, Arts and Culture said that the government can, in a good conscience, not associate itself with Israel, whose atrocities against Palestinians are well documented. Joining me now live, Ms. Chaba Kumalo, who is a spokesperson for the Sports, Arts and Culture Minister, Nathi Mthethwa. A very good afternoon to you, Ms. Chaba. Nice to see you again. Thanks for joining us on the program. So what does this withdrawal of support mean?
Well, good afternoon to you, Griselda, and good afternoon to your viewers. So in a nutshell, what this means is that the South African government refuses to associate itself with anyone, any entity, anything that is supportive of the inhumanity that is being waged out by the Israeli government and the system currently. It would be anti-progressive, especially coming from the history that we come from as a country.
Yeah, so what reasons did the pageant organizers give for wanting to continue participation despite such a huge outcry?
I don't want to speak on behalf of the organization, but the reasons that were disclosed were to do with the fact that Miss South Africa herself wants to do this. And really, the minister has made it quite clear, Minister Nathi Mthethwa, that it's not about anyone's personal interests, not the interests of the Miss South Africa organization, and neither the interests of Miss South Africa, quite frankly. It is about a broader purpose. It is about standing together to make sure that we, as the entire world did, Griselda, you know how the entire world banded around South Africa, how they organized sanctions against South Africa during the height of apartheid. And we would be very disingenuous and really, quite frankly, pathetic to associate ourselves with such great inhumanity.
Yeah. In your statement, you say that the talks began as constructive and engaging, but became unpleasant.
Information that I've received is that this is what she wants. But however, I've not heard it from the horse's mouth. I would implore you to interview her directly. But this is coming straight from the executives of the Miss South Africa pageant. And I really seriously, deeply, all of us are praying that she really just comes to her senses, because we all stand in the firm position that this is wrong, it's incorrect, and it would be morally incorrect to proceed with this.
In response, the Jewish board says Miss South Africa is being used as a political scapegoat. We're joined in studio by Zev Krengel, National Vice President of the Jewish Board of Deputies. A very good afternoon to you, and thank you so much for joining us. I think perhaps off the back of that bite that we just played from the Department of Arts and Cultures, Ms. Chaba, your response?
So we're extremely disappointed. I mean, I think everyone's forgetting the main thing. We've got this unbelievable young woman who's done incredibly well to get to a position as Miss South Africa. It should be a unifying thing where we should all be supporting her, like we support the Bafana, we support the Springboks. We should be supporting Miss South Africa, which we do. And a certain minority group, this PS Palestinian Solidarity, has decided to shift that focus. And very sadly, government and the ANC has chosen to capitulate to a small minority. Instead of this being building bridges, she's not going there as politics. She will have, she has the opportunity to represent South Africa on a world stage. It's not a massive boycott. It's not an apartheid concept. 70 countries are going. The Muslim world's going. The UAE's going. Morocco's going. Pakistan's going. South Africa's on the wrong side of history. Our disappointment as South African Jews, as South Africans, is that the government and the ANC are making her into a pawn on their cheap politics, where they're trying to appease a certain lobby group. I hope South Africans stand by her, which they have, and I hope she stands by her commitment in the pageant. This is about a beauty pageant where she's got an unbelievable charge to represent us all on the world stage. And for me, that's where we're so disappointed. This should be a unifying contest for not only South Africa, for all of the world. And the South African government and the ANC have decided to make it a very divisive situation, which unfortunately is just going to harm not only her, but our reputation locally and internationally.
Right.
Today, Israel's one of the most open countries. It's a democracy. It's made friends with almost all its neighbours. Its neighbours are going. We're on the wrong side of history. What saddens me is the ANC was always a party that realised the only way to get to the end of any conflict was actually negotiations. It was always negotiations, it was always understanding your enemy. And a certain lobby group is trying to get the ANC to do what they're not. They're not a conflict. They don't try and create. They shouldn't be around creating conflict. They should be creating bridges. But that they have turned on their own in this situation with the entire world. Well, I'm a little bit confused. Is the Israeli tennis team played in the Davis Cup in South Africa in 2018. Now, nothing's changed in Israel. Okay, you've got a more coalition government. I mean, for the first time in the history of Israel, you've actually got a Muslim party in the government of Israel. So Israel is incredibly inclusive to the Muslim Arabs of Israel itself. So 2018, they played the Davis Cup. Our baseball team played Israel. I mean, what I'm fascinated about, the president of FIFA, Infantini, went to Israel, and he's hoping that Israel will get the 2030 FIFA World Cup soccer. Now, will South Africa stop the Bafana Bafana playing in that? Will we be the only ones? Or are they just putting pressure because it's a single woman of a young age where they feel they can bully? Because I can't see them going for the Bafana Bafana team when it comes to FIFA. Israel is accepted throughout the countries of the world. Excluding Iran, there's not another country but ourselves that are on the wrong side of history. So we are working in a very dangerous space where we are trying to prolong a conflict instead of trying to bring that conflict closer to an end. And that's the sad part about it. And yes, we have come into the fray because the government isn't worried about the pageant. They're not worried about our unbelievable Miss South Africa, who should be on the world stage where we're all supporting. They're trying to be involved in a tiny little conflict that can be sorted out if everyone talks to each other. But they're the only ones choosing not to talk.